next thing is data. Let's say you are playing with analyzers. Okay, once you analyze it, you have to send it to the repository. Well, no problem. The thing is, you just cannot add an item. It can be just done by text. You see, it's a square, not a circle. So it's kind of lame, but that's how it is. The next thing is, well, if you have repositories from across the process, well, how can you combine them? Well, you have a map, actually, and it's a data map. You see? From that map, different data can be stored and create main repository or main database. It's simple, isn't it? The next thing is about notification and observer and timer. An observer is actually a task. It means that someone else observes your tasks. For instance, you're doing a report, and that report, by how you're doing it, can be observed by your boss. Well, he just sends you back. It's simple as that. Now, what about timer? There are many tasks that have to be done in time. For instance, shipping or storage. You have a timer. For instance, if you're creating a report, let's say, okay, we have 2 hours to create a report. Now, if the timer says you were working 3 hours or 2 hours and 5 minutes about it, it can report to the supervisors and say you weren't very good at it, or something went really, really wrong. Now, the next thing is notification broadcaster and notification receiver. In here I'm going to show you why this is so important. You might think, okay, so you broadcast something, let's say a document or a file, and the other one will receive it. Well, why such a need? You have tasks, and one task is going to do, he's going to send it to another one, right? Well, not so easy. You see, the first task, as you can see here, you can receive it. Well, you see, the good thing is about once you have a lot of tasks and a lot of loops and everything, it just goes messy. And if you have to send from one part of the process to another part, the easiest way is notification. I showed you about the palette and the activities, gateways and events. I'm going to show you about business item. Notification is almost the same as business item. It only don't have states, which are actually the things that are inside the business process at the same time. The notification only don't have the state option. The state option allows your document to see at what stage or at what time it may be in a different process. For instance, you're making a document and the other one is reviewing it. If you're comparing that cannot be at the same stage. But if there are two persons reviewing it, then there are double times. Then then you have to mention it in the states, or you will have errors. Like here. For instance, as you can see, notification is used only, only for notification broadcaster and receiver. Now, you might even think, okay, what about this? Nope, but you can do it in a different way. You set here an output. So let's say about business item. You have attributes, rules, documentation, and states. Well, let's start at attributes. We have to create a document that involves numbers, strings, etc. Well, you may add a few. You can name them, say attribute string. This is just because I want to know what I'm going to type. Is integer, and let's say boolean. Okay. Now the next thing is you have the text type. What kind of type do you want to be? Well, as I said, as a string, you might know if you have a few skills and programming, you don't have that right here. You have text. Integer, as you might say, just like byte. It doesn't really matter, you know. And boolean. I'm not going to explain what something means, but you get the point. Now the minimum you want to set at 1. Well, why 1? If, for instance, if you have an attribute that isn't always full, well, in that case you get a minimum 0. In other cases it's minimum 1. So a maximum of either text or number. In this time, since we have a text, we're going to say 165. Since we have a number, integer, in this case it's actually wise to have it a 0, because sometimes you might have 0 products. For instance, if you're rechecking the goods and you find that in your database you have 0 products but you found one, so yeah, I don't know, 1,000,000. The same here. Now the next thing is if it's a read only. For a few things you might see, what's the point, you know, if it's a read only you cannot type in it. Well, the one that creates the document can type, but others cannot. So static, you know, if it changes or not. Unique, it's a good thing to be false, because for instance if you have a number that is reproduced in let's say a few times, it will have a few numbers errors. So yeah, okay, so there's actually nothing new now. It's just like that, move up, move down, whatever you want. It's nothing else. Rules, well, it's not very much often used, but okay, I'm just going to remove it. Documentation, that is the most important thing about business item. Yeah, because, you know, in here you can add new things. Now, existing templates, if you have something else and you want to show others, or add files, you know. or add files. But be cautious, because the first thing you have to do is save before you can actually add something. Thing is, you can add whatever you want. Is it a Word, PowerPoint, music, movie, whatever you want. It's up to you. And states, as I said before. Now let's go about a few things. In this process I'm going to show you role. What's important. For instance, you can see here, you will see here right now, that actually it's unassigned. And what does it do about it? Well, we're going to switch to freeform. I'm going to make a few tasks. Nothing new, nothing special. I'm just going to show you one thing. You can actually do roles, if I have that. Organization, classify, I'm going to just check everything. Apply. Cost and revenue. Inputs. You can see what you can do. And role requirements. You can add a role. For instance, role requirement, role, new role. We're going to see role 1. It's not going to be complicated. And add a new role, role 2. Okay. And let's say there are 2 persons doing that operation. Let's say those 2 tasks is made by new role, role 3. And it again, this person have role 1 and role 2. You may notice this. You can actually name the role, or you can actually name it before, but time required is in days, hours, milliseconds. It's actually for simulation, nothing more, quantity, how many times he has to do the same role, how many units, it's in not much use, but let me show you one. Yeah, let me show you. You see, it was unassigned before, but now it's assigned. So you can see whatever someone is doing at any time. And this is also nice for viewing to others, to see their responsibilities and checking the needs for others. Okay, so this is the intro. In the next movie, how to make a simple process and simulate it.